A very good afternoon to our lecturer, Mr. Chua, and my fellow classmates. Today, me and my group will be presenting the topic called the relationship between happiness and economy. Before I start my presentation, please allow me to introduce my groupmates to everyone. As you can see, the one who is on the top left corner is Cheyenne, Kishan, who is beside her, and Hannah, Kermay, Michael, Ivy, Suvan, Tiffany, Jisian, Zara, Jean, and lastly, me myself, Esther. Alright, we will start our presentation now. Let me start off with a question for you guys. Would you rather be happy but poor, unhappy but rich, or the last option, happy and rich? I'm sure that all of you here would choose the third option, which is the happy and rich. Some of you might be curious and wonder, or you may ask, is there any relationship between happiness and wealth? The answer is yes, definitely. Here is where the happiness economics kicks in. So, what is happiness economics? It is a formal academic study of relationship between us as an individual and the economic issues in our surroundings. It is used mainly for survey and indices. Are you surprised? Our happiness can be measured in terms of economics. Happiness economics indicates what and how the economics can affect each individual's happiness level. Just to give a simple example, in my case, I will be happy if I get to eat a lot of ice cream. And so, more income or wealth leads to more ice cream, and this definitely will increase my happiness level. But this is just a small part in the happiness economics. There are far more theories behind it. In fact, happiness economics can be measured and quantified into an index. Finland, Switzerland, and Denmark, these three countries have the highest index in year 2020, which means that they are the happiest countries in the world. However, the term happiness is very subjective and may be complicated to be categorized. Using my previous example, some people may not like ice cream. Hence, the raised questions are, how does the happiness of each individual, like every one of you present here, can influence the economic growth of one country? How can we actually do that? I'll leave the questions to be answered by my fellow classmates then. Now, I will hand over the floor to Cheyenne.
And hi, this is Cheyenne, and I'm gonna start this part with source of happiness. One source of happiness is education. What is education? Education is a social institution which has an enculturation effect on both teachers and students. Why is it necessary for education to play an active role on facilitating the development of happiness in people? One reason is, one of the goals of this institution is to produce graduates who can function as these three parts. First, economic system. Second, political system. And the last one, social structure. For example, employment. Preparing student jobs and careers is one primary aim of education. Jobs are important, but not only as a source of income. A personally meaningful job can provide you a chance to develop a satisfying relationship, provide individuals with a means to gain self-respect, and make their lives more meaningful. But as a source of happiness, it's not the job itself is the most important element to happiness, but rather the social relationship that has formed, the sense of belonging to the group or community, and the development of self-esteem. That's all my part, and I'm gonna pass it to my group mate, Kishan, to explain furthermore. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Hi, I'm Kishan, and I'll be presenting on how marital status is a source of happiness. To start off, first and foremost, we cannot deny that marriage can be one of the sources of happiness in an individual's life. In my opinion, marriage happens when a couple decide that they want to take their relationship to the next level and enter a new chapter in their lives where they face challenges together. There is a famous quote by a renowned economics professor by the name of Marina Atshay, where she says that marriages might make people more happier, but it is no guarantee of happiness. Meanwhile, in the Journal of Happiness Studies, it finds that marriages make people more happier and that they can continue to be more satisfied in the years into their marriage. However, not everyone has the same perspective on marriage, and some people can find happiness by themselves. Therefore, they would react adversely to marriage and even more negatively to divorce and widowhood. In conclusion, marriage will not always increase the level of happiness, but provides us an opportunity for any individual to find happiness. Alright, that's all from me. Now I'll pass it on to my groupmate Hannah to continue the presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah, and I'll present to you about one of the sources of happiness, which is health. When it comes to health, you may question, why is it so? How does being healthy relate to happiness? Since long decades, many analyses has presented the interaction between health and happiness. A good health will make people feel more cheerful and causes a greater contentment in their daily life. However, having a bad physical or mental health leads to having more restrictions in people's daily activities and causes a pessimistic view of life. Emotional health is also one of the strongest factors of happiness and well-being. Therefore, developing the ability to cope with feelings of anxiety and depression is very beneficial. A study of economic determinants of happiness based on the data gathered by US Census has revealed that health is a far more powerful determinant of an individual's happiness than his or her income. Study shows that self-described healthy people are 20% happier than the average, while unhealthy people are 8.5% less happy. And now you may ask, why are people happy when they are healthy? Firstly, people desire to be healthy and happy and experience a long life. Being in good health is a predicate of longevity. Furthermore, when people are in good health, they enjoy a more active lifestyle. People can engage in physical activities that imbue happiness, such as dancing or group activities that physically healthy people take for granted, such as hiking, running a marathon, or even climbing a mountain. Other than that, being in good physical health presents a broader range of opportunities to take on occupations that demand physical fitness, such as bodyguard or a firefighter. I'll also give you another example. When people are healthy, they are more likely to be better off financially. The financial burdens that millions experience in meeting the cost of their healthcare needs can contribute to chronic unhappiness. Money may not buy health or happiness, but it is definitely a crucial factor in the happiness equation. Last but not least, good health and freedom from chronic pain, and enables people to have a better social life, which strengthens relationships. In conclusion, I will say that good health is the foundation of happiness. Therefore, stay healthy. Now, I'll pass the time to my group member, Ke Mei, to talk about the economic factors.
Next, I would like to talk about the relationship between happiness and economic factors such as GDP and infrastructure. GDP, known as Gross Domestic Product, measures the monetary value of final goods and services produced in a country during a specified period of time. GDP is important as it gives information how country's economy is performing. An increase in GDP indicates that the economy is doing well. There is a significant association between GDP and happiness. The research found that people in wealthier countries tend to be happier than those in poorer countries as they have higher purchasing power. As a result, an increase in consumption will raise a country's GDP, which also reduces unemployment and poverty issues. This is because there is higher job opportunity due to higher demand. However, growing national wealth is not always accompanied by growing national happiness. Therefore, a rising GDP would have led to some issues such as income inequality, increase in crime and social problems, disease of affluence, and higher pollution from increased consumption. Now, I'll pass the time to Ji Xian to further explain on infrastructure.
Thank you, Ke Mei. Now, I would like to present to you all about infrastructure. Infrastructure is the background of economic growth of a country. There are three examples of infrastructure such as transportation system, communication networks, water and electric system. These systems tend to be a capital-intensive, high-cost investment and are vital to a country's economic development and prosperity. In short term, investment in infrastructure such as building or upgrading transport can boost economic growth as there is an increased construction activity and employment. In long term, infrastructure investment can boost economic growth by increasing the potential supply capacity of an economy. For example, improving transport facility could make workers more mobile, so making labor markets more efficient and increasing productivity.
Freedom. It is a fact that people could live happier if there is freedom in a society. Freedom is defined as having the ability to choose and act without constraint. This means that the absence of restriction in economic and political factors is required for the society to be free. Therefore, the degree of freedom across nations can be measured by the absence of economic and political restrictions. According to studies, freedom is highly linked to happiness in a rich country. There are different opinions about the impact of freedom on happiness. A conservative thought says that freedom might also have negative consequences. According to this, people don't know what is best for them and their freedom has gone too far and about to destroy vital institutions. However, other studies emphasize that only economic freedom which improves human well-being but not political freedom. According to other thoughts, freedom leads to happiness under specific conditions such as people's maturity. Studies rank nations according to the measure of freedom with two indexes, that is, the opportunity to choose and the capability to choose. The overall index shows that the lowest scorers are Russia, Saudi Arabia, and China, while the top scorers are Finland, Norway, and Denmark. These top countries are among the countries that have the happiest populations according to the World Happiness Report. Comparative survey data shows that the effect of political freedom is highly linked to an increase in happiness. These studies were conducted among Western populations where their political freedom is a constant background.
Other than freedom, corruption is also a factor that will affect our happiness. Based on definition we found from Wikipedia, corruption is a form of dishonesty or criminal offense by those in positions of power. Corruption has many forms. It does not involve exchange of money only. It includes bribery, extortion, cronyism, or even misuse of government power. Corruption doesn't have any geographical limits, so it basically means that corruption exists everywhere in the world. Corruption is an important factor that affects the quality of country governance. In spite of our understandable and frequent focus on monetary exchanges involving government officers and favors, public officers accepting envelopes stuffed with cash to favor bribe givers in the exercise of official powers is perhaps the central. Other than that, corruption may distort the composition of government expenditure. Let's take allocation of public procurement contracts as an example. How? Corruption may tempt government officials to choose government expenditure less on the basis of public welfare than on the opportunity they provide for extorting bribes. Large projects whose asset value is difficult to monitor may present a bigger opportunity for corruption. A corrupted system like this may lead to a lower quality of infrastructure and public services. Living in a country ruled by corruption can lead to unhappiness in society, as corruption leads to a serious obstacle to a good governance, economic growth, and stability. And now, Chen Man will be explaining the finding and analysis.
Hi everyone, my name is Pang Chen Man. I will be presenting on the finding and analysis. Now I will be starting on the research methodology. In this presentation, we will be showing some data from several websites. Starting from the social factors. Let's start from the relationship between education and happiness. In this table, you can get a strong positive relationship between education and happiness by looking at how close the dots were to the line. Of course, correlation is not causation. Maybe the factors that lead to higher level of human capitals also lead to higher level of general well-being. The research shows that the more education you have, the happier you tend to be. In a survey that utilized data from US General Social Survey, it shows that 94% of people with bachelor degree or higher education tends to be happier with their lives, while 84% of high school graduates also said the same. Having a college degree is correlated with other sources of happiness. People who go to college tend to have a better health outcome, a more stable marriage, and longer lives than those who didn't go for high school. The next topic I'll be sharing is the relationship between marital status and happiness. In this table, we are using the data from the Community Health Survey conducted by Korean Centers for the Disease of Control and Prevention. For Korean men, you can clearly see that the lower income group has less happiness while they are unmarried, but the level of happiness has increased when they are married. For Korean women, the income level also have significant interaction with the marital status and the level of happiness. But compared to Korean men, Korean women's unmarried or married status has the similar high level of happiness following with their level of income. In the divorce group of Korean women, the interaction effect was smaller than Korean men, as indicated significantly stronger coefficient of divorce by income in men. In conclusion, married group has the highest level of happiness among other groups.
Hi everyone, today I'm going to present about how political factors will affect the happiness. Based on the analysis, it shows a positive relationship between a corrupted perception index and happiness, which means countries which are not corrupt, people are usually happy, and the people who are unhappy are usually live in the corrupted countries. Looking at the plot, we can see a clear positive relationship between the two variables. Both freedom and positive emotion increase as the other increase. This is aligned with the idea that citizens who have the more freedom have a higher positive emotions. This is the comparison between the level of freedom and the top positive country in 2017. Next, I'll talk about how economic factors will affect the happiness. From this graph, it shows a positive relationship between the GDP of the country and life satisfactions of the citizens. The more GDP of the country has, the citizens are more satisfied with the standard of living.
In conclusion, we found that the social factor was the main source of happiness that drives economic growth. Economic factors was rather averaged by the relationship with economic growth. This table shows the evidence of social factors being the main source of happiness, while the GDP shows slightly lesser impact to the economic growth. That's all for my presentation. Now I will be passing the speech to the next presenter, Zar. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Zar Zainal and I'm here to do the conclusion part of this presentation. So, traditionally being said, the things which brings happiness to a mankind's life does not have a price tag. This point explains that there are more important things in a human's or in a person's life which is more important than money. Like for example, family, friends, relationship, love and much more. But practically, money has always played an important role in everyone's life. For example, whatever we do, whatever activities we do, our daily activities, everything is related to money. For example, we are working, investing or trading, even getting a food or a meal, there's a value that you have to pay. As we all know, people with higher income tend to be happier and more life satisfied than the one with low income. This is because the wealthy people, they can afford both their needs as well as their wants. They can afford whatever they wish for, they can get everything. Whereas on the other hand, people with low income, they even for affording their basic need, that is food, shelter or clothing, they have to struggle a lot. Also, a point to be noted is that people who are poor, who don't have income, they are forced to involve in criminal activities such as theft or other crimes in order to live their life, that is get their basic needs. So the important thing here is that money is also a turning point in their life. It can make you a bad person or a good person.
Thank you, Zah. So next I'll be presenting the additional conclusion. Firstly, we cannot deny that happiness is a major source of motivation and it results in a strong relationship with the economy of a country. And the importance of happiness is further emphasized by the usage of happiness indexes in several countries such as France and United Kingdom in measuring the economic performance of their country. Lastly, even though measuring happiness may prove to be a challenge, but some argues that by including the more in-depth factors that affect the quality of life, example like health, education, marital status, and etc., it helps to make economics appear to be more relevant in our real life. And that is all from us. We would like to apologize for any mistakes made, and we are truly grateful for lending us your time, and we also hope that you do now understand the relationship between happiness and economy. Thank you.